My name is Idris. I am 26 years old. I work in a small post office by the sea. Our post office is old. The paint is peeling. The radio hums all day. We send more bills than love. Every morning, I open the wooden shutters. The light comes in like a slow visitor. I sweep sand from the floor. I count the letters that never found a home. We call them the forgotten ones. Wrong address, moved away, no name on the door. They wait in the back room, quiet, patient, sealed. One hot afternoon, the power went out. The fan stopped. The radio went silent. The air was heavy. I went to the back room to rest. There, under a table, I saw a wooden box I had never noticed before. It was dark brown, tied with rope, covered in dust. On the lid, someone had written in faded ink, "To be delivered, someday." I cut the rope. Inside were letters, more than 100. Some envelopes were yellow, some were white, some had stamps from years ago. Each one had a name, an address, and a little hope. I picked one up. It said, "To Youssef, Café du Pois, Tangier." The date was 1998, 25 years ago. I opened it carefully. The papers smelled like salt and thyme. The words were in blue ink. "Dear Youssef, I hope your boat came back. You said you would only be gone a week. It has been 3. The sea is not kind. Please, when you read this, come home. Your sister, Amina." My chest felt tight. I didn't know if Youssef was alive, but I knew someone had once waited for him. The letter felt warm in my hands. I wanted to know the ending. That night, I could not sleep. The moon looked like an open envelope. I decided something. I would deliver the letters, even if they were old, even if no one waited anymore, even if the world had moved on. The next morning, I told my boss. He laughed. He said, "They are ghosts, Idris. Let them rest." But I couldn't. I took 10 letters and put them in my bag. The first was for Youssef. I took the bus to Tangier. The cafe was still there. Small, blue door, the smell of coffee and sea. An old man sat by the window reading a newspaper. I asked the waiter, "Do you know a man named Youssef?" He pointed to the old man. "That is Youssef," he said. My heart jumped. I walked to him and said, "Sir, I found this letter. It is from your sister." He looked at it. His hands shook. He said, "She passed away 10 years ago." He opened it and read slowly. Tears fell on the paper. He whispered, "I never knew she wrote this." He held my hand and said, "You brought her voice back." He folded the letter and put it in his pocket like something alive. I took the bus home in silence. The sea looked softer that day. I felt small, but also part of something bigger. The next letter was from Mariam, a teacher in Al Hoceima. When I arrived, the school was closed. A neighbor said she moved to the mountains years ago. I walked to the edge of town. Children were playing football. One of them said, "Mariam? That's my grandmother." He ran to get her. Mariam came with a cane and kind eyes. I said, "I have a letter for you. It's very old." She smiled. She said, "I used to write many letters, but no one answered." She opened it slowly. Inside was a paper from her first student. "Thank you for teaching me the word freedom. I will never forget you." Her voice broke. She said, "That boy was taken during the protests. He never came back." She kissed the paper and said, "But his words came home." She gave me tea and said, "You must continue this work." Each week, I took more letters. Some found their homes, some did not. Some I read under trees and left on graves. I began to keep a notebook, names, places, small miracles. One day, I opened a letter addressed to the girl with the green scarf. No name, only a cafe name and a street. I went there out of curiosity. The cafe was now a bookstore. Inside, a woman about 50 was arranging books. She wore a green scarf. I said, "Excuse me, are you the girl with the green scarf?" She laughed softly. She said, "Once, maybe." I gave her the letter. Her hands froze. She whispered, "It's from Hassan." She opened it and read, "I leave tomorrow. The train goes south. If you still wear the green scarf, I will know you remember me." She smiled through tears. She said, "I wore it for a year. Then I stopped." She looked at me and said, "But today I wore it again. I don't know why." She thanked me and gave me a book, Letters of the Heart. She wrote inside, "To Idris, who delivers time itself." The story of the letters began to spread. People came to the post office asking, "Do you have one for me?" Sometimes they just wanted to be remembered. Sometimes they left new letters, ones they never had the courage to send. I made a small shelf called Someday Letters. People wrote notes to lost friends, to mothers, to lovers, to their own younger selves. They put them in envelopes and left them there. No stamps, no addresses, just words waiting for courage. A journalist visited. She said, "You are becoming famous." I said, "I am only a messenger." She smiled and said, "That is enough." She took pictures, the wooden box, the letters, the shelf. Her article was called "The Postman of Yesterday." The next week, I received a package with no name. Inside was a small wooden box, just like the one I had found. On top was a note, "For the next messenger." I smiled. The circle was beginning again. Then one morning, a letter arrived addressed to me. It had no stamp, just my name, Idris, written in blue ink. My heart raced. I opened it carefully. "Dear Idris, you do not know me. I am Yusuf's niece. My uncle told me about the letter you brought him. I wanted you to know that he died last month, peacefully, holding Amina's letter in his hand. He said, I am going home now. Thank you for bringing him peace. From Sarah. I sat in the back room and cried quietly. The other workers didn't ask why. They just let me be. That evening, I went to the sea. I held the letter to my chest. I said softly, messages find their way. The tide came in and took the light from the shore. Months passed. I still worked at the post office, but something had changed. When I looked at envelopes, I didn't just see paper. I saw hearts, folded, sealed, waiting to be opened. One day, I received a visitor, a boy no older than 12. He said, my grandmother told me about you. She said you find lost letters. I said, sometimes. He held out a small envelope. He said, can you keep this in your box? I asked him, who is it for? He said, for my father. He is far away. Maybe you will find him someday. The envelope said, to Baba, when you miss home. I placed it in the wooden box, and the boy smiled and said, you will deliver it, right? I said, I will try. He said, that's enough. That night, I opened my notebook. I wrote, the work is not to deliver every letter. The work is to keep them alive. On the anniversary of the day I found the box, I organized an event at the post office. We called it Letters That Found Us. People brought their old letters. We hung them on strings across the walls. Some were love, some were sorrow, some were unfinished. The room glowed like memory itself. An old woman stood near a letter and whispered, that's my handwriting. I wrote it 50 years ago. A young man beside her said, it reached the right person, you. She laughed through tears. At the end of the night, I placed a new letter in the box. It said, to whoever finds this, these letters taught me that nothing written with love is ever lost. Deliver what you can, read what you must, keep the rest safe. From Idris, the postman who learned to listen. I closed the lid. The box looked old again, but I knew it was full of new voices now. The next morning, when I opened the post office, the first light came through the shutters and touched the box. It glowed for a moment, as if it was alive. I smiled and said, good morning, my old friend. I picked up my bag. There were more letters to deliver. Not all of them had addresses, but all of them had a heart. And that, I think, is enough.
If you enjoyed this lesson, click here for another learning video.